Good evening. How are all the Rams doing tonight? Well, my name is Juaquin Castro, and I'm proud to serve Texas in the United States Congress. And I actually have a twin brother, Julian, who was mayor of San Antonio and is now the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development in Washington, serving in the President's cabinet. And my brother and I are twins, but in case you ever get to meet him, there's a very easy way to tell us apart. I'm a lot better looking than Julian is. I'm just kidding. I told that joke to a friend one time, and he said, actually, neither one of you is very good looking. You know, moments like this, graduations, are times for celebration and reflection. And as we were walking through the procession and the line of students earlier, I couldn't help but recall that for me, June 5th, 1992, in San Antonio was my very last day of high school at Thomas Jefferson High School, 23 years ago today. And as I thought back about all of those years, I thought how much has changed for me personally and for the world. Back then, I had a lot more hair, and none of it was gray. I weighed 20 pounds less. There was no such thing as Snapchat or Twitter or Facebook or Instagram or iPhones or iPads. And in all of that change, there's also been so much incredible opportunity in the years to come for our students who graduate today. You know, when I was in high school, I was always in a hurry, both my brother and I. We skipped a year of high school, we almost skipped a year of college, and one of the biggest challenges was to slow down and appreciate the moment. And as your valedictorian Victoria said, I hope that tonight, for just a minute, in all of the anxiety to graduate and get on to the next thing, that you'll slow down for a moment and appreciate where you are and all of the beautiful and wonderful people that are here celebrating with you tonight. And as somebody that was never good at taking advice when I was 17, 18, 19, 20 years old, and even beyond that, I do want to offer you in the short time that we have just a few pieces of advice that I've gleaned over the last 20 years or so. The first one is to always try hard to believe in yourself. I'm convinced now, after all these years, that the biggest challenges that we face in life are not with other people or things, but with ourselves. One of the biggest obstacles you'll face, graduates, is self-doubt. Believing whether you can accomplish something that you want to achieve. There'll be a lot of questions over the years that start with, am I? Am I too fat? Am I too thin? Am I smart enough? Can I graduate from this class? Am I good enough to be a lawyer or a doctor or a teacher or a firefighter? Always do your best to believe in yourself. And one of the ways that you do that is surround yourself with people who believe in you. Along the way, and you may have seen it already, there will be people who believe in you even more than you believe in yourself. They will see potential in you that you don't even quite see in yourself yet. Somebody will tell you that you're a great singer, that you should try singing. Someone will tell you that you argue a lot, you'd make a great lawyer. Or that you're very smart and maybe you should be a doctor. You want to make sure to keep those people close to you because they will be like angels in your lives who will help lift you up when you doubt yourself. I remember when my brother and I graduated from high school, we had barely left our hometown of San Antonio. We grew up on the west side, 90% Mexican American. We'd only been on a plane once or twice before. And I remember leaving for college in California, and this was at a time when you could still have your family and friends meet you at the airport, and everybody could go to the gate to see you off before the tragedy of 9/11 and things changed. And I remember that we got on that plane. My dad bought us the cheapest tickets he could find. So we stopped twice, once in El Paso and then in San Diego, before finally landing in San Francisco. And I think I cried the first 2 hours or so of that flight because we were leaving home for the first time. And my first assignment, I remember when I got to school, was that I had to register for classes. And this was in Silicon Valley in California, and even in 1992, we were registering for classes online. And so I got to the computer, and when I was at Jefferson, we had had computer science classes, and we had computers, but the computers didn't have a mouse attached to them. So I got to this computer, and there was a mouse attached to it, and I didn't know how to make the cursor move. And so I stood in front of that computer, and I was hitting the keyboard, trying to get the cursor to go where I wanted, and it wouldn't move. So at this point, I was getting embarrassed, you know, and you start looking around to see what other people are doing, and you're getting nervous because you don't know what you're doing wrong. And I saw this mouse, and I saw other people using it, and I picked it up, and I started rolling the ball of the mouse to make the cursor move. And the girl next to me looked over at me, and she must have thought I was crazy, but she said very quietly, "You have to put it down and roll it." That was the first lesson that I learned at Stanford University. And at that point, I thought, you know, I really don't know if I'm going to make it here. But everything turned out well, and I ended up graduating, and so did my brother. But it was for me a moment where I thought I was really concerned about my future there. There will be moments like that, big and small, for all of you. And when they come, always believe in yourself and surround yourself with those angels in your lives. The second is, be grateful. Be grateful to the people around you who have put in so much of their lives to help you get to where you are today. In each of our lives, there are people, family or friends, who have sacrificed so that we can get to where we are. Oftentimes, we have parents or grandparents, many of whom didn't have the same opportunities that we've had. People who sometimes worked very long hours so they could afford to buy you clothes, make sure that there's food on the table, buy you those tennis shoes that you wanted or those cool jeans that you had to have. I remember in my own family, my grandmother was the first to come to the United States from Mexico. She came from a small town in Coahuila. My grandmother came here as a 6-year-old orphan with her younger sister, Trinidad, who was 4 years old. My grandmother never made it past around the 4th grade. So her whole life, most of her childhood and all of her adulthood, she worked as a maid, a babysitter, and a cook to do every single thing that she could to give my mom, Rosie, a better chance in life than she had. And I share that story with you today, not because I think it's special to me and my family, but because that is the story of so many of our families who have worked hard and sacrificed over the years to make sure that you have a better life than they have. And tonight, I hope you'll join me in a round of applause to say thank you to all of the parents and grandparents who are here. And finally, in everything that you do in the coming years, always keep your horizons broad. If you believe that you want to be a lawyer or a doctor or an engineer or a singer or a dancer, whatever it is that you do, always keep your horizons broad. Always believe that you can accomplish what it is that you want to accomplish. And always know along the way that there are people here that love you. You know, after tonight, there are some of you who, after this season of graduation, will leave Del Rio, Texas, and never return. There are some of you here who will live your whole lives in Del Rio, and there's others that'll come away, that'll leave and come back. But as you look around tonight, please know that this is the place that made you. These are the people that love you. This is your family. And no matter where you go, they will always be hoping for you, praying for you, cheering for you, and that you'll always have a place to call home right here in Del Rio. May God bless you always.